Hello and welcome to another episode of What Does It Mean to Be Human, a podcast on life, meaning, and everything. I'm Ron Saylor, creative warrior, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Ben Gare.
Hello.
How are you today, Ben?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Technical difficulties as usual. We'll get it nailed down one day. But yeah, it's all happening. It's all happening.
The tech issues just keep happening, but you know what? We're still pushing on.
we forge on. We forge on. So it's been a minute in our world for connecting here. Maybe only a week for you or fortnight, whatever it is. But yeah, what's been going on in your reality, man?
Mate, I think I'm going to start with just most recently and starting with this morning's meditation. That's kind of been building from the last few days. And the one thing that just kept coming to me was, stay in your own lane. As in, stay grounded, stay on your track. Just to give an example of why that came up. So the other day I had a session with another therapist and I was like really impressed by what they were doing. And in my mind, it's like, oh man, like I really like what they're doing. They do what I don't do. Wish I could do that. And I kind of like was giving away myself, like I was kind of caught up in their world. And I kind of lost sight of, all the skills and talents I have as a therapist. And so I took that into my meditation this morning. And that came up was like, just stay in your own lane. Because a lot of the time what can happen is you can get caught up in someone else's lane, right? And someone else's world. And you kind of lose sight of the present, you lose sight of where you are, who you are, and what you're here to do. So for me, it was kind of a wonderful lesson this morning just to see that. And it allowed me to come back into center. And it gave me just a greater awareness of myself and my surroundings and how easy it is to get distracted and just to fall off, whether you fall off the bike or you fall off the wagon or whatever, phrasing you want to give it. For me, it was like, get back in your lane, focus on your lane and just keep going, It doesn't matter if you trip or you fall or you stumble or you hurt or whatever. Just get back up, dust it off, take the lesson and move on. So that's kind of what's been happening in the most recent, last few days. And I think that's important. That's pretty much where I'd like to start.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. It's I always remember from kind of counseling sort of studies and stuff like that they were saying being hard on yourself or berating yourself or going, oh, I'm such a fuck up, I've done it again, is way worse than the actual fucking up action itself. Usually it's because it's this, we're often our own worst enemy, and it's the more we kind of reinforce the idea I've done something wrong or I'm bad or I always fuck up something or this, it's just reinforces that mentality that there's something to fix, or that there's something in my reality that's wrong. And I've always said this about sort of therapy and kind of, spirituality and therapy and kind of the whole personal development path and kind of like you need to do enough therapy and getting on center and getting on track to stay or to realize that you need work to do or you can continually keep stepping up to what's happening in your world and what you need to be doing and blah, blah, blah. But you also need to not do a bunch of therapy as well, because again, by constantly doing therapy, we're reinforcing that I'm not perfect in my own reality. It's that's something we always need to remember, whether we're killing it today or really struggling. It's like it is, we're just perfect as we are. There's always something to be done, but if you're intent and your goal in life is to hold that as your higher principle, I believe everything is divine timing. I think everything is perfect in that space of, if you're committed, if you're stepping up, if you're really doing the work, then the way is there for you. And no matter how far you stray off the path, you're always on the path. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Totally, 100%. And for me, like with what you're saying, I think it's important to remember for a lot of people, it's easy to get caught up in, the distractions, or feeling like, there's something to fix, or, we're not perfect, or, someone else is better, or belief patterns, or self-worth, and all that sort of stuff. And for even us, we can sometimes, forget that, or dismiss it. And it's easier just to get caught up in, someone else's world, or what's happening in the world, all these kind of external stimulus that goes on. So I think, just touching on what you said, that we're all perfect in imperfection, because that feeling, and it's kind of like a generational, cultural, societal kind of mindset, where you've got to have the right conditions in order to create what you want. And that may mean you need to work for a certain amount of period. You may need to, do this, or you need to study this, or you need to do more therapy. You need to learn more to get to a point. And like you say, Ben, you don't need to do any of that, right? Sometimes we over-therapize. Yeah. And you're right, just reinforce what's there. Yeah. And, we've done a lot of trauma work, right? Especially through rebirthing and breath work. And we went through that ourselves, where we went through stages, and for some people this may not make any sense, for others it may, where we were able to regress to childhood with trauma, even to the point of going back to the womb and experiencing as a fetus in the womb. And like I said, for some people that may be a bit too far out, for others they'll know what we're talking about. And it doesn't matter, at the end of the day, this is just an experience, a sharing of what we've experienced. And in that moment, we could have a trauma, like, we could make something up, that something's occurred. For example, we may feel like mum's not paying me attention, or she may be going through something, and then we make it mean something about us, and then we carry that with us for the rest of our lives. And that carrying creates a belief system that we may have, that, for me to be loved, I have to like make a lot of noise to get attention. And then we want to have therapy about it, and go, okay, why do you feel like you always need attention? What's the wounding about? And you can keep going down that rabbit hole for the rest of your life. But does it make a difference in how you are? Does it define who you are? And that's, it's really important to understand. Therapy is great to give awareness. We all need it. Self-development is one of the things anyone can do for themselves. But there's a point of understanding. At what point do we kind of like over-therapize, and we go like beyond that point, and we just get caught up in always doing more than what we need to, So I think it's really good what you're saying. So for me, people out there, the community, our crew, our tribe, everyone out there, there's so much perfection in imperfection. And it's just being aware and acknowledging, going, you know what, this is just me today. Does it define who I am? Well, that's up to you to make that choice, in the moment.
Yeah, it's I've definitely had periods of it in the past where I've been a serial workshop. You go fucking do a million bloody workshops and put all kinds of study even under your belt, and it's like, well, where am I implementing? Is this just perpetually adding stuff that is unnecessary? Where am I stepping up to my own knowledge and wisdom and implementing that as its own way, and so I totally resonate with that kind of stuff. Now it's more about in the stillness, in the do I hear my own self and catch what it is I truly need to know in this moment, and that's all that really needs to happen. The wisdom is all around us. It's being aware of signs or messages or your own internal dialogue or any of this kind of stuff. Now it's like where am I pulled to? What's my heart? What's my kind of, where is my joy going to be in this situation? Is it perpetuating me further into more love within myself? Or is it taking me further into distraction in my head? So it's the fight between the head and the heart, I think, is kind of what I'm much more aware of these days. Yeah.
Mate, you couldn't have said that any better, but yeah, keep going. You're on track with something, and definitely head and the heart is, yeah, huge.
Yeah,
Elaborate
because
on that one.
well, because the head always wants to know, you know, and it endlessly loves chewing gum. It just likes to kind of fucking get on an idea and like run that one over and over and over in this like fantastic little loop where, yeah, nothing can get done in many ways, you know, analysis paralysis and all that kind of stuff. So it's great when it's trying to understand, but it becomes, yeah, distraction. It becomes kind of just another coping mechanism or tool to take you out of the moment. You know, everything's happening in this moment, and once you develop your internal trust, I think is the end kind of result there for me. That it's like I actually trust myself enough or so much that whatever it is, whether it's a fuck up or completely in alignment, I trust that this is an experience I need to have either way, and I will be pulled in any moment to engage or not engage in that experience. And so therefore I'm taking my power back to my responsibility. I chose this. This is what's happening, whether it's good or bad, tough lesson or smooth fucking woo, yeah. You know, it's about finding that internal depth that I'm okay no matter what. You know, it's life is always going to have ups and downs, positive and negative. There is always kind of polarity, and it's our responsibility, in my opinion, to become the witness of the wave, of the ride, as opposed to getting into every single up and down and letting them dictate your life, as opposed to you taking the reins and going, oh, okay, cool. I'm seeing that this is not really where I want to be and I want to change it. So either taking actions to change it or allowing it to be, because there is no action that can change it. You know, it's just going to have its time and pass, because as soon as there's a down, there's an up on the other side. There always is. Especially if that's your intent, to look at the reasonings of what got you there, or what's really happening in your reality. Then you're taking the reins as opposed to letting life ride you.
Yeah, and for me, if I was to summarize what you're saying and what I'm connecting to, is the awareness of what's happening in your world, right? Just being aware of what's going on for you on all the levels, whether you're feeling the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, and connecting, like saying, yeah, okay, the mind wants to make sense of everything. That's just its job. That's the ego's job, is just to make sense. The ego's job is just to keep you safe and protected and keep you in a bubble, because it kind of guides you in a way of what you've learned to create your orientation, your pathways, your anchor points on how to maneuver in this world. And then having that awareness is such a wonderful thing, right? Because it gives us an opportunity, like you say, in that moment to make a choice. Okay, this is how I'm feeling, but does it, again, define who I am? I can make a choice. Okay, I might need a couple more days just to go through it, to integrate it, to absorb the information, to sit with it, and then to make a choice as to which way I want to go. Do I go down the road, keep going down this road, or I say, well, hold on a second. Is this really serving me for my highest good? Am I really, as a person, as an individual, connected to all time and space and into my heart and projecting that forward in creating what I want as a warrior, as a creative warrior, as a creative being. So then we have that opportunity, and the importance around awareness cannot be understated. I think it's something almost sometimes it's a bit dismissive, because you can be aware of something and just ignore it, or you can pause in that moment and go, okay, this is happening. Why is it happening? And then from that why, you can explore whether you want to journal, whether you want to do some breath work, whether you want to do a meditation, whether you want to seek someone to speak to, whatever your way is, it doesn't matter. But it's important to be aware and make, well, how do you do those things that nourish you, that support you, fill your cup. So when your cup is full, man, nothing can nourish you, feel supported. And you know you're aware of all these things that might be going around in the background, like my hands. And they're going to slap you in the head and you're going to like get wobbled and then you're going to come back. But are you going to keep letting them slap you in the head? You're just constantly like trying to keep your balance. And a lot of the time, that's how it kind of feels, man. I know I go through that too. And so like I've got to like go, oh, stop. Let's recenter and move forward.
And that's when I think like therapy is its most effective, because it like you're saying, with your experience with the guy that you were looking up to, or whatever, the practitioner you were looking up to, that it sometimes just reminds you to come back. It's like you do have the tools within you. It's like maybe that is a cool tool, but I know cool ones as well. You know, so it's that's when you start to build your own. It's like, well, I just want to go to that person for that thing because it's cool, because that's what they do. They're gifted in it. And that's kind of where I'm at with kind of seeing therapists and stuff now. I'm sort of off the track of really seeking a lot, but just going to the ones that remind me of myself, you know, of coming back to myself, or when I'm too far in my head and yeah, running a story or in some kind of fear or whatever it is, and it's time to come back here, you know. And yeah, and even plants for me are sometimes those ones that do that. As a non-physical practitioner, they're the ones that sometimes remind me. It's like, oh man, yeah, I do know this. I'm so just been on a track, and that's okay. Again, it's about acknowledging it and moving on and taking the action, you know, to change what does need to happen now. But acknowledging that it's okay.
Mate, you know what? You said something that really went off shook. You gave me goosebumps.
Yep.
It's about not doing all this kind of therapy, but finding therapists that are focused. This is what I got from what you're saying, that are focused. Yep. And their attention to detail. And you know, you're going there because you know this therapist gives you this that reminds you of you.
Yeah.
Right? They're kind of representing or reflecting and a part of your essence, which you connect to, which they kind of feel, which they support. And you're both coming from a place of power, right? You're not giving your power away to this person because of the skills they have. You're going in as a powerful person, meeting them at that level, and then the energy that's being transferred is a healthy energy.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and mate, that just gave me goosebumps. So for those out there that are understanding what I'm talking about, energy is huge, right? Happens in the background, happens in the foreground, happens consciously, unconsciously, when you're awake, when you're asleep, and even without you around. It's just constantly happening. And a lot of the time, if we feel depleted or we don't feel energetic, it's probably because we're giving away too much, right? We kind of like want to, like, you know, just to draw an example, people that always are off service, always like sacrifice their own needs in order to make sure everyone else is happy. And then, you know, in my experience, those people are usually always tired. They don't sleep very well. They have low energy levels. And most of the time it's because they keep sacrificing their own energy just to give it away to other people. So it's kind of like, that's just one example. I mean, there's many out there, but just drawing one. So the importance of that, what you said, was huge. And it's not just with therapists, right? It's in everyday life. It's people you come in contact with, whether it's colleagues, friends, family, whatever the situation is, right? There's always that, where am I in my power right now? Am I coming into this situation as a grounded human being in my power? Or am I coming in this situation looking for something because I don't feel I can give it to myself? I need this person to give it to me. This sense where we're always looking outside of ourselves to fill ourselves up, where we've already got it. Like you said, it's there. There's nothing to do other than just be who you are. So that was huge for me, mate. So thank you for that. That was great.
But then you need to see a few people to get to that point of realizing that it's inside you. So it's this lovely paradox of like, yeah, I've got it all within me, but I need to get to a certain place to remember that it's all within me. So hence the beautiful place
the beauty of therapy, right? That's the beauty of therapy and personal development, and that's what we're talking. We advocate personal development, but we've done enough of it to know that it's like, I'll give myself as an example. I've been like a healthcare practitioner for almost 25 years. I've studied so many different things, but am I a master in any of those things? Well, not quite, right? So for me now, it's like I'm honing in my skills just to be masterful in 2 or 3 of the things that I do. Because for me, that's important now. Instead of like trying to do all these other things, I'm not saying I'm not good at them, but where's my energy? Where's my focus? Where's my direction? Where's my attention to detail? And that's, it takes time to get to that point. And like you're saying, Ben, therapy is important. And therapy is a huge word, umbrella word for anything that you may want to explore. Curiosity is the first step to exploring who you are in this world.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm not even seeking masterfulness in one thing. I'm seeking masterfulness as Ben, because that again that again takes the next level of power to not giving it to a modality or a thing. You are the gift. You this culmination that you've brought together, don't worry about like focusing on one modality or the couple that you want to be great at. Become the homogenous group of creation that is you, that you're offering, because your flavor that you bring to all of it is going to be influenced by all the things you've ever learned, all the things you've done, all the things you are, and that makes what you have is unique. No matter whether it's just called breath work or just called something else, it's tinged with all the flavors that the things that you've learned, but it's your creation. It's your unique expression as an individual.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. I mean, now I'm in a position where I'm going to defend myself and say, I'm kind of talking about specific soft tissue work, where becoming skillful in a particular mode. I know what you say. I totally agree with you. Mastering yourself is mastering everything, because why am I wanting to get distracted and wanting to be good at 1 or 2 things? Where's that coming from? And this is a lesson I've just learned now from you, Ben, just from this conversation. I can take this now and go, okay, this is such great fodder. Okay, I can take this now and look at it. And this is the wonderful thing of having this interactive conversation, right? So that was great. Again, mate, you're on fire today.
Cool. I think that might even need to be. Do we need to wrap up there? I think it might be short and sweet one. This one, as we started a little bit late. But is there anything else you feel that you wanna just wrap up with there, or explore in the last minutes?
Oh, mate, I think we've explored a lot in this short amount of time. I think we gave some good information out there. And again, as I always say, it's just information, guys. However it lands for you. sit with it, absorb it, ignore it. It doesn't matter. We're just here, two blokes talking about what it means to be human.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty much where it's at for me, and yeah, glad it helped you, and then helps whoever hears that on the other side of this as well, because it's like, yeah, just remember that you're all right. Like, you're perfect, you know. And I don't know, that can be a loaded, like, whole subject for some people, you know. It's just like they've been running on thinking the opposite of that for a long time, and it takes time. Like, it takes time to get comfortable with self, that you can just sit and be in your own being, you know. That it's a whole thing, you know. And it's the journey of a lifetime, you know? It's ever changing and deepening and evolving, and as different elements come in and out of life, it just is. But if your overarching or higher intent is to become that, or embody that more for your own experience, then it's okay. You know, you will get to wherever you need to get to within it, and it's just about putting one foot in front of the other, and giving yourself a bit of a break now and then too. That you know, yeah, we're all doing our best, you know, and that's okay.
And that's all we can do, man. So
that's all we can do. 100%.
Well done, everybody.
So I think that's it. Be gentle, have fun, and yeah, see you next time.
See you guys. See you, Benny boy.
See you, mate.